It's 1982 and I'm sitting in the Tenko compound, not really of course, but you know that, where the BBC recorded the exterior scenes of the prison camps in the Tenko series. We're in a sand quarry in a place called Warmwell in Dorset in the UK. The buildings you can see behind me are the huts featured in the camp on the first series, but the movie footage in the next shot you'll see is a high angle showing the compound from the second series, so the layout of the set is different. This is the Tenko compound, seen from a camera on a Simon hoist, and as it pans across to the right, up the slope, we see the long slope up to the top of the hill, where the vehicles and the marquees are, and all the other paraphernalia of the location shoot. This van is called the lmcr, short for Lightweight Mobile Control Room. Lightweight because it only weighed 10 tonnes, and that's what it is, a mobile control room where the director and his assistants sit and control the recording. On the left in this picture is director David Tucker with his AFM, assistant floor manager Melanie Howard, and the other people in the lmcr are the production assistant Joan Marine and the vision mixer Sue Thorne. And here's Sue having lunch with Robin Luxford, the sound supervisor, at the digs. And this is the sound area in the lmcr where Robin sits and adjusts his decibels. By modern standards it would seem very clunky and old-fashioned, but 40 years ago the lmcr was used regularly on lots of big drama productions. The director, this is Jeremy Summers, one of them on Series 2, sits in the van and directs the camera operators, Frank Hudson and Martin Wyatt, via their walkie-talkies. The production manager, this is Michael Morris on Series 1, also has a walkie-talkie and conveys the director's instructions to the actors. And as is usual with the drama, all the shots are carefully worked out before we ever get to the location, but things never quite go as planned, so there's lots to discuss when everything's actually in place on the set. The sound men, Ian Furness, Pete Hales on the left and Joe Driver, that's me, on the right, have radios too and can talk back to Robin when problems arise. This brings us to the wonderful riggers, John Price, Cyril Tuplin and Tommy Richards. And here are Cyril and Tommy in the camera van, where all the heavy technical equipment is transported to the site. Their job involved driving the vehicles to the location. They were all qualified HGV drivers, and once at the site they were responsible for rigging all the heavy cables. And in those days they were heavy. Cables had to be run from the lmcr to the actual filming area, both sound and camera cables. And during the actual filming, they laid track for the dolly, moved the camera mountings from place to place, and generally looked after all the heavy equipment. And when tracking was required, it was the riggers who pushed the dolly during the shot. Very tiring work. Now, to the right of this picture, you can see a bit of another BBC van, the video tape recording van, and it's here, slightly hidden behind the lmcr. And this is what the van looked like when it was new. A charity called the Broadcast Engineering Conservation Group has refurbished this one, along with other broadcasting vehicles. Inside, there is a lot of technical equipment which is needed for adjustments to the recording machine and for communication with the vision engineers and the director. And this is the machine which is actually recording the scene, and it's an Ampex VPR2 1-inch helical scan recorder. And here's Eddie Jones, the videotape engineer who presided over the VT van on the location Tenko recordings. Although it's television, not a feature film, there are lots of similarities. There's the wardrobe department with its own marquee, makeup with the caravan for the actors. Here are some makeup ladies from Series 1. Left to right, Erica Polke, Christine Vidler, supervisor Fran Needham and Linda McInnes. In the foreground is Abigail, an AFM on the first series. There's the catering tent and the location catering van, loos. Then there's the props department. Loads of props. Apart from the bits and pieces that the actors are using, there are the vehicles, the set itself, of course, lighting crew. This is from a night shoot. And, of course, the generator. Operator one Kenny Owen, a great character. When you see the film in a moment, you'll be wondering why the quality is so bad. Well, there are several reasons for this. In the 1980s, home video recorders were beginning to become popular, but it wasn't easy to interface them with professional equipment. I was a bit of an enthusiast, and I had actually got 2 semi-professional video recorders, an American make, IVC, very expensive in their sphere, but the reason I owned them was because they didn't work properly. Well, I tinkered around and got them working after a fashion, and hit on the idea of recording some of the show I was working on at the time, which happened to be Tenko. I put the machine in the cab of the LMCR and hooked it up, and with the help of Dave Heath, one of the engineers, to start the machine recording now and again, I obtained the footage. And I'm so glad I did. The music, by the way, is called Varka Sto Gallo by Mikis Theodorakis, and I hope I've pronounced that right. Although the quality of the film is appalling by modern standards, it's the only behind-the-scenes record of the location filming of this important drama. I'm afraid this production is a little confusing, as there were 2 location shoots here. One for Series 1 in 1981 between August the 2nd and September the 10th, and for Series 2 we filmed in 1982 between the 12th of July and the 20th of August. All the video is from the second shoot in 1982, and the stills are largely from the first one in 1981. I suppose a good place to start is with the cameramen. Here's Frank Hudson. On one occasion, whilst he was lining up his shot of the crosses on the graves during Tenko, I said to Frank, "What's with the funny framing, Frank?" And he answered, "It's art, Joe, art." I've never forgotten that. Frank's nickname on the shoot was Ichiban, which means number 1 son in Japanese. He was the senior cameraman. And this is Niban, number 2 son, Martin Wyatt, always jolly and cheerful and ready for any challenge. He was invariably the one who had to go up on the Simon hoist. The sound crew on the second series were Robin Luxford, supervisor. He worked in the LMCR itself, monitoring the audio and operating the faders on the desk to achieve the right balance, occasionally telling me or Ian Furness that the boom was visible in the top or side of the shot. If we were lucky, we could see a monitor, a television screen, to judge the edges of the shot, but sometimes this wasn't possible. It's actually quite a skilled job, as you have to watch out for shadows as well. In the sequence when Miss Hassan meets Colonel Yamauchi, you can see that Ian is kindly paging my cable for me as I wield the microphone over the action. The woolly dog is actually the outer windshield, which is essential to prevent wind rumble. The microphone, a Sennheiser MKH416, is quite a slender unit inside the outer rig, as you see here. Well, I think it's time we had a look at the film. Here's David Tucker, who's been directing his artists on the set, running back up the slope to the LMCR, where he'll start recording the scene.
Women will also be given extra rations at supper. And for a special treat, they will have meat.
And you're not going to believe this, John.
Frank, where do you want to stand? Same as Martin, yes?
Stand here.
Looking towards each other.
I know. But did you not say we had as much as we could?
We
really,
need to keep going
yes,
all the time.
It went right the way up to then.
Yeah.
By the time the guys had left the gate and the rest had gone in there, we came down and stand guard over the car.
You speak English?
My English is perfect, Major.
Then we speak English.
Ah, you wish to practice?
Not to practice, speak.
My apologies. As I was saying, I have been here since the beginning, when we just had the missionaries. And then, as the camp grew, Lieutenant Nakamura was kind enough to promote me. As he only speaks Japanese, he needed an interpreter as well as someone experienced in administration. I was once...
Lieutenant Nakamura has learned no English.
Not one word. He relies on me for all translation. And forgive me, we are very proud of our camp's record, of its harmony and efficiency.
Okay, we'll push it. Right, everybody hang on in there. Okay, gather round, lads. All right, no, don't get in, George. Push. Right, here we go. Here. Right, now.
Oh, yes. Well, I've got to be back to you then.
What, one of the women coming? Yes.
We're laughing at you.
You say Kazaki Dai. Okay, hold it there.
It's babies, you're going to pick her out after running.
Hold it there. Right. No laugh with Kasaki. Silence there, because you hadn't seen him come up. Suddenly he's there, he's shouting at you. For a moment you're spellbound, I think. It's she who breaks that and says we weren't laughing at you. He could say, oh, sorry, I thought you were laughing at me, what a dummy. But he doesn't. He says, you say Kasaki lie, and he goes towards her, and that's the moment to come in and say, we were laughing at her, yes?
Me?
Okay,
Me.
not before that. Right, let's try it again.
When you get to the end, stop as you did. Stop and turn. You've got the lines.
This might be a good place to explain about the cameras we were using on this shoot. Up until now, the BBC had used film cameras on virtually all location drama shoots because the early electronic studio cameras were so big and heavy. Unfortunately, there was a huge difference in the look of film and electronic pictures. It wasn't so much a question of quality, it was just so different. But once we were using electronic cameras on the location shoots, the pictures were indistinguishable from the studio shots, so the edited result was far more realistic, as there wasn't the jarring when you cut from outside to inside. This was another innovation that this series embodied. These cameras were Bosch Fernseeh KCN 92s. They needed a separate box of tricks, the backpack, connected to the cameras by a short umbilical cable from which the regular camera cable could be extended hundreds of metres to the production vehicle. The cameras needed fairly constant attention from the engineers. A common sight was that of 2 or 3 engineers peering into the backpack with the side removed.
Let's have our counting chat so we can brief him.
Right, George, please.
Stephanie Beecham. Ronnie. A gauntlet.
Ronnie?
Ronnie.
Probably a handkerchief, effectively.
Have you all down here, please, girls?
Stephanie.
Line up.
Look at that. Gabriel's on
The
the
only
grid.
track
Ronnie,
for
then
the
Stephanie. Then Claire. Then Anne.
The only little track for nothing.
You're not going to believe this.
Yeah.
Oh, look.
Take, please. Take.
Try and meet him there. So if you have to go slower, don't just drive at the same speed and meet wherever you happen to meet. Try and meet him at that spot so that if he's not got there yet, you could go a bit slower.
George, can you bring the car back, please?
1st of August, nearly Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right?
The youth and girls, but
Well, by the old time, sure, isn't it?
bloody well does, mate. Bloody well does.
The weather was perfect for 5 out of the 6 weeks we were there, and then just as we needed some rain, although I don't know why we did, I just remembered that we did need some rain, the heavens opened as you see. The people are rather crowded on the little balconies because there aren't any rooms through those doors. The rooms were all back in Television Centre.
Rob, let us know where the tea and the coffee are laid out, will you?
Yes, I've sort of...
Seen it servicing wet gear, this is.
I want, can you see the camera through the door?
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
So Frank, sorry, not Frank.
Oh, stone me blue, I don't know.
Don't like the two sitting on the veranda. Yeah.
Was that okay, Robin?
And we can set up these in shot 174, the top of the screen, with the ladies on the bottom.
My best work.
And you.
What time, Rose?
Sorry?
4.
Just my luck.
There was a real snake down by the vegetable plots yesterday. Ugh.
Must have got him from the jungle.
What happened? Joss killed it with a stone and then we ate it.
Roast chicken with bread sauce.
Treacle tart.
Sausage and mash.
Buttered crumpets. Homemade fudge.
Jam. Roly-poly.
Children's compositions, are they?
Yes. When I was young, I lived in a big house with green shutters and white walls. When he was young, dear God, he's only 8 now.
Bobby. Poor little blighter.
I had a Chinese armour who looked after me, and my mother was always clean and laughing and smelt of flowers. I remember the first time I saw Lillian. It was my first day at boarding school, and the matron showed me into my new dormitory, and there was this other little girl sitting on one of the beds. She had a doll. She was brushing its hair. She was so engrossed, she didn't even notice us come in.
I suppose you know she's heading for a breakdown.
Yes. There's nothing I can do.
I didn't see anybody. That sounds pretty good. Okay, run please, Eddie. Right, here we go then. 574, take 2, and action.
I need to be refilled, to learn again the joys of acceptance, to bend my will to the wise laws of the church. The peace that comes...
I don't quite believe that.
Well, most of me.
Never understand.
No. Goodbye, my dear, stubborn friend. I don't believe that we will meet again. So I will let you into a secret. When the church took me in, I was very lonely. Who knows, perhaps it's one of the reasons why I became a nun. But here, with all of you, I think I was discovering my vocation as a woman.